As you mentioned before the news, Stacey, some more disturbing news for the Adelaide Holocaust Museum. It's once again been targeted by neo-Nazis. This time a group of what appears to be about half a dozen men wearing masks have been photographed out the front of the museum making a saluting gesture.
Let's go back to Dvir Abramovich from the Anti-Defamation Commission. Dvir, is this something you've seen before?
Yes, good morning. Good to be with you. We actually exposed the Nationalist Socialist Network a few years ago, and we have been tracking these angry and agitated hardcore neo-Nazis. And what we saw yesterday was the modern face of Hitler. These are the modern-day guards of Auschwitz, and we need to be very clear about something. They were not expressing a political opinion. This was a call for murder, because neo-Nazism is an exterminist policy. And if they had their way, these individuals would lead people like myself into the gas chambers. We have been tracking them. The worst thing that we can do is to downplay the threat of deadly violence that these angry individuals pose, because these Hitler worshippers are promising a racial war. And they're on a recruitment campaign for like-minded, disaffected young men and women to join their warped cause.
So what can be done, what should be done to discourage them, to try and stop it?
Well, the worst thing to do is to downplay the fact that these are a clear and present danger. I've argued for years that these are domestic terrorists in waiting. This particular group tried to recruit Brenton Tarrant, who committed the Christchurch massacre. They're dangerous, they're ticking time bombs, and what they're doing over the last few years is to take their online activity into the real world. And we've been seeing them escalating their attacks. And we know one thing, that where white supremacists gather, physical violence and murder usually follows. I've called on the federal government, but also on state governments, to do two things. One is to designate them as terrorist organizations, which would mean that law enforcement has all the tools and the resources they need to crack down and to tear this threat at its root. And the second thing, and it's about time for the South Australian government to follow the lead of Victoria and to ban the public displays of the Nazi swastika.
And have you spoken to anyone within the South Australian government about that yet?
We haven't, because we have been so busy dealing with Victoria. And as I said, in June, the Victorian Parliament passed this law. But we would be more than happy to lock arms, not just with the Jewish community in South Australia, but with all good people. Because we have to remember one thing. A democracy is not just about the rights that we have. It's also about what we are willing to tolerate. And I think having the law on the side of the neo-Nazis who want to fly the flag or display the Nazi swastika is not who we are as a people.
Dvir, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Dvir Abramovich there, the chair of the Anti-Defamation Commission based in Victoria, and also Kathy Bakich, the Centre Director for the Adelaide Holocaust Museum before that. And lots of your texts coming in sympathising with the situation that the museum finds itself facing. A lot of people saying how upsetting it is that this can occur in a city like Adelaide. Absolutely.